We're going to call this Select Board meeting of September 4th to order. We start with public participation. Is there anybody that'd like to say anything? No?
I do. I got a lot to say.
Well, why don't we wait until we're at that business, Bob?
I think we'll do it right now.
All right, go ahead. Well, you know what? I'd rather wait because the attorney's going to be here at 25 up.
Need an attorney.
I think as a Select Board member, it'd be best if you waited. So let's, first of all, Chairman's remarks. I'd like to give a kudos to the Vernon Fire Department for taking second place in the Guilford Town Fair Fire Muster. And they also won $250 for doing that. So congratulations to the Fire Department, and thank you for your efforts. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The treasurer's not here yet. Yep. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th.
Madam Chairman,
Ms. Howe?
I move to accept and approve the minutes of Monday, August 20th, as written.
A second.
It's been approved and seconded to accept the minutes of August 20th as written. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have all signed the warrants for the treasurer. She should be here in any minute. But yeah, I mean, if no one has a problem, certainly. Mr. Miller, go ahead and read the warrants.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept warrants number 5, SG, accounts payable, $212,093.19. 34S, payroll, $18,651.13. 35S, payroll, $14,959.73. And 1E, election, $929.68.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the warrants. 5 SG accounts payable, $212,093.19. 34S payroll, $18,651.13. 35S payroll, $14,959.73. And 1E election, $929.68. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we really kind of are at a standstill here. You want to go to unfinished business while we wait for the attorney to get here? Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move we take unfinished business out of order. Employee volunteer picnic.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to take unfinished business out of order, and, take things out of order, go to unfinished business, the employee volunteer picnic. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. As everybody knows, our volunteer picnic is at 5:30 on Thursday night. At this point, we've had about 40 people sign up, but I think that there are probably going to be people there that forgot to RSVP, so we should certainly plan for more than that. And certainly all departments that are listening, please come, because we'd love to have you. Chris and I are going to go shopping the day before and get all the things tomorrow and get all the things that we need for the picnic. Anybody have any ideas of something else that needs to be done?
Matt Coombs is going to donate homemade relish, so you don't have to buy relish.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I think we're all set. Everybody show up. We're going to be there at, what, 5 o'clock? 4:30, get the coals probably 4:30, and I'll have to remember to get coals, too, because,
Does it take coals?
yeah, it takes charcoal briquettes.
I thought it took wood, like cherry wood that they have, or not cherry wood, apple wood or something. No, okay. All right,
Well,
so charcoal.
I don't know how to start a fire, so maybe it does.
I don't.
I just turned my gas grill on, so we can figure that out when we're shopping anyway. So, and we're still waiting on the town attorney. The rec department's not here either.
They were told not to come until 7.
Yeah, so we can't take them out of order. So I guess we're just going to have to, town attorney's supposed to be here any minute, so. Oh, Sally, we've already okayed your warrants.
Wow.
Isn't it nice?
That's cool.
You know, I'd like to ask you if you can remember, when you do the warrants, if you can shoot us all an email, because we can come in and sign the warrants, and I think it certainly speeds along, and that's why we're so early, because it speeds along the time for town, for select board.
Just a question for you. Did you, because the E1 warrant was not on the list for the elections, was that?
We did ratify that also.
Okay, cool. All right. I just have a communication for the board, and it's grant information. Oh, you did? I got 3. Did you?
I got 2.
Okay. I'm doing anything. And all I have is checks. And I'll just
Thank you, Sandy. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also probably should talk about if we're going to sign the warrants ahead of time. She may not have to hang around just waiting unless she has an issue she needs to deal with. And then that would give her a Monday night every other week off. I bet she wouldn't like that. Should I skip that? I need a motion.
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we appoint Steve Skibnowski to the Wyndham Regional Commission as one of our commissioners, to the Planning Commission, and as our representative on the Connecticut River Joint Commission.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Steve Skibnowski to the Wyndham Regional Commission as one of our 2 members, the Planning Commission, and representative of the Connecticut River Joint Commission. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And we thank Mr. Skibnowski for his time, volunteering his time on so many very important committees.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly may.
Are we going to keep Bob Spencer? And if we are, then do we just say that, we don't have to make a motion saying that we're leaving him on there or anything like that, just as it is?
He's our second.
Just adding.
Right.
Because we're allowed 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, we're really quick today. There's nothing else we can do until he gets here.
Time.
Make the motion that we take a recess.
Yeah.
Recess until the attorney comes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to take a recess until the attorney comes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I apologize. I had actually told him to be here for quarter of because I figured warrants and stuff usually always takes that long. time off the meeting, so thank you for coming tonight.
My pleasure.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Howe?
I make a motion that we go into executive session with the attorney,
And the Shippies.
Mr. and Mrs. Shippey, on a personnel matter, the disclosure of which at this time might be detrimental, what is wrong with me? Detrimental to the town or individuals involved. Sorry about that.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded to go into executive session with Attorney Couton, sorry, on a personnel matter, the disclosure of which at this time might be detrimental to the town and/or individuals involved.
And the Shippies.
And the Shippies. Should we ask for the police chief to come along?
Probably be a good idea.
Aubrey, will you go ask Chief Hebert if she's available, please?
She's not available.
She's not here? Okay. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. It'll only be a few minutes.
So the Shippies, I'm a Mr. Shippey.
Who's that?
Patty, me, you want me out?
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we now need to put a
I have no idea. Okay.
get stumbled when I read it. You better.
Just one side of it anyway, so we can just record you adjourning from executive session.
And no action is taken. Then I'll make the motion. Same motion.
We came out of executive session at 7:16. No action taken.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we go into executive session on another personnel matter with our town attorney, the disclosure this time which might be detrimental to the town and/or individuals involved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session with our town attorney on a personnel matter, the disclosure of which at this time might be detrimental to the town and/or individuals involved. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Dave will put your... I'm going to think.
Sorry, I might have lied a little bit. When somebody said, was it going to be short, I said, oh, I'm sure. Stretch the finger.
We went into I lost my times.
7:16.
Went back into executive session at 7:21, came out at 7:38. No, 6:21.
No action taken.
No action taken, sorry.
Madam Chair,
Miss Howe.
Nope, that's Miss Ayers.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Harris.
we need a new pair of glasses.
We do.
The board had the cruiser taken to an independent mechanic for evaluation. This was done without a formal notice of a meeting because the board felt that this was a condition requiring immediate attention. Therefore, I move that the board ratify that action in this open meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. The board had the cruiser, took the cruiser to an independent mechanic for evaluation. This was done without a formal notice of meeting because the board felt this was a condition requiring immediate attention. Therefore, at this time, the board would like to ratify that action in open meeting. Is there any discussion? I guess I'll start with explaining. When we were at our last select board meeting, it was mentioned by one of the officers that the car should be taken to an independent repair person to look at the car because there was a concern. We're talking about the Crown Vic, which is the car that's up for replacement, but according to the capital plan, no equipment should be replaced until the vehicle or the equipment is at the end of its useful life. So the Finance Committee has gotten strongly involved in this and done a lot of looking into the Crown Vic, the condition of the Crown Vic, how we could get to a third car because the townspeople had voted 2 years ago to go down to 2 cars and then last year back to 3 cars, so that gets confusing in itself. So there's been a lot of conversation around this board as to whether or not the Crown Vic was still in good, reliable condition. And it's been felt by the Finance Committee and the Select Board that the car was indeed still in good condition, and we can't in all good conscience replace any equipment in this town until it's at the end of its useful life. And not only do we have a responsibility as select board members, we have a moral responsibility as citizens in this town to not be spending money that doesn't need to be spent. Now, eventually, we will have to replace that cruiser, but according to the capital plan, that cruiser is not going to be replaced until it's at the end of its useful life. So there was a lot of debate back and forth as to what useful life was and whether or not the car was still in good condition to stay on the road. And so actually, one of the officers suggested after the meeting Monday night that the car should be checked by an independent person, someone out of town, doesn't know any of the history, doesn't know anything that's going on, just look at the car and let us know if that car is in good condition and can last for another year. So we brought the car to an extremely reputable person who has a phenomenal reputation and actually spends a lot of his time repairing state cruisers and Brattleboro police cruisers, so he has an extensive background in Crown Vics. There were issues with the car, but all of the issues that were with the car were really standard, regular maintenance. Brakes were shot, there was no emergency brake, tires were bald, which, you know, for any of us, if we were driving our cars on the road like that, you're not supposed to. So, we grounded the car. We just said, you know, what's wrong with this car can certainly be fixed. It's regular maintenance on a car, regular wear and tear on a car, a few $100s worth of repairs, but this person had actually signed an invoice saying that if these repairs were done, this car was good enough to last for another year, and we felt that we should have the repairs done. Number one, the car shouldn't be on the road without brakes and tires. Any one of us would get a ticket for defective equipment if we were driving that way, so we certainly couldn't let a cruiser drive that way. So we grounded the car. It went to a local person to be fixed. There was a lot of debate about where the tires were and who was going to put the tires on, but finally that was all solved on Friday, and the car has been fixed, and so that's why we are at this vote here today. We are not going to be buying a new car until the cars that we own are at the end of their useful life. And there's never going to be a fourth cruiser to be used as a utility vehicle to go back and forth to meetings, because this town cannot afford that, and that was the decision of the Select Board. Does anybody have any questions?
Can I ask why they had to all be discussed in executive session?
That was not discussed in executive session. It was a different issue.
Is the car back on the road now?
The car's back on the road now. All the repairs have been done. We have, and actually, I'm not supposed to be debating with public because we're still in the middle of a motion here, but I wanted to explain the motion before we took the vote. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Now, do we have any questions from the audience? The car is still on the road, Mario, and it's going to continue to stay on the road. And if an engine blows next month, we'll have to make a decision to buy a new car. But right now, as long as independent, very well-known, good mechanics are saying that this car should stay, it should last another year, we're going to let it last as long as it can before we buy a new one.
Oh, no, my question was to get back on the road. So
Yes, it was all fixed and repaired and back on the road for the weekend. There has been some question as to whether or not the Select Board had the right to make that decision, and I think our town attorney can certainly explain that.
Well, in terms of the authority of the Select Board to do such things, the Vermont Supreme Court has said that the police department is under the direction of the police chief, but is concurrently and ultimately subject to the authority of town government. So I have no question in my own mind that the board had the authority to make that decision.
Any other questions? Mr. Miller?
I guess my question would be, if this vehicle had deteriorated that far, why wasn't it fixed previously? If you have an emergency brake that isn't working, you've got bald tires, and et cetera, et cetera.
And
why wasn't it fixed, or whose responsibility was to have it fixed prior to this point?
And that was our question. And a lot of this came about because there was so much controversy over whether or not we would get a new car. And it became a situation that was really a little uncomfortable for a lot of people involved. And that's when the Finance Committee, and mostly Marilyn and Sheldon, actually spent hours going through all of the bills for all of the cars to see what cars we were doing more repairs on. And that's when we just started to see that some of the repairs or some of the regular maintenance probably wasn't being done as often as it should be done. And that's really what brought this to the point where the Select Board took notice of it, because we don't go from department to department and say, let us see your equipment, what's being done. We are going to recommend that from now on that there is a scheduled maintenance report done, so that not only in one department, but in all the departments that have vehicles, and I think most of them already have it, but we're going to make sure that there's a scheduled maintenance report done so this doesn't happen again. I think, I don't know why it got that way, but that is a question that we're asking. Nobody else? So let's get on to the easy things like the roof. Thank you all.
Assuming that's...
I'm going to keep it right there.
I'm happy to hear about the roof if you'd like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Richard, thank you very much for coming down.
Okay.
We really appreciate your input.
Such as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Safe trip home.
Hello. Well, I'm here to hopefully get the go-ahead to proceed with our roof project at the pool. I believe you all have a little packet with the bid spec that went out, and then the 3 bids that we received. The project includes the bathhouse, the shelter roof, the garage, and the chemical shed.
The amounts are like kind of all over the place.
Yeah, there's 3, there's a little difference there. So we touched base with the Finance Committee, and they're in support of moving forward with the project. Our recommendation is that we go with Fennell Roofing at a cost of $29,000 to the town.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go with Fennell Roofing for the removal and replacement of existing the Vernon Recreation Area at a cost of $29,000. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Seth, thank you so much for your work on this. I know you worked hard with the Finance Committee, and Finance Committee, thank you for your work. We really appreciate it. It's great when all the homework's done early and these things just sail right through.
Move ahead as planned.
Thank you.
Sure. Real quick, the gate to the town forest is now open this hunting season, so that's kind of been our policy. So if you see that that's open or you get questions on it, that's why.
Yeah, can I ask you, is it open in the summertime at all?
It's kept shut.
Because of people going in there with...
Well, I think that was kind of that was the agreement that we had all kind of reached here. But during hunting season, there's numerous requests. So rather than, fielding phone calls, I'm dragging a deer down, can you come open it? We just leave it open for hunting season. It works better for everybody.
Is that a re-roof, or are they going to take the old shingles off?
Take the old ones off.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it, right?
We have a cruiser policy request, but you want to work on that now?
Yeah,
Table it.
yeah,
I think so too, because we need to have something, we have to write something up first.
Yeah, right.
Kind of get a basic so that we can look at it and say, well, yeah, we want to tweak it here, we want to tweak it
Yeah, we're gonna table the cruiser policy request till our next meeting, so we have a little bit more time to work on it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. And that concludes our meeting for this evening. Does anybody have anything they'd like to offer? I know you're supposed to do that at the beginning of the meeting, but nobody was here in the beginning. So. Media, do you have anything to offer?
I don't know about an offer. I have a couple questions, though.
Okay, ask away.
You have time.
Sure.
Thank you. I'd like you to have you. I just wanted to ask, just as an update on that.
Thank you all very much. Have a nice week. So hopefully we'll see you at the next meeting.
Good night.
So go ahead, Mike.
The cruiser situation, I was at that meeting, I think the last select board. And Bruce was here, and he had made a few comments that night about the cruiser, something about the mechanic. It's in his interest to keep this old cruiser around, that sort of thing. This was all stuff that was during the meeting, I guess. Is that the comments you're referring to, or were there some other things that I'm not privy to? You just made a comment about one of the officers had suggested that the cruiser be examined by the Finance Committee.
Yeah,
Is that the same comments, or like?
That was actually to the Finance Committee. It was suggested that we get an independent person, and not because of anybody in this town, but just because a second opinion is always a good thing.
Okay. So that was just going to happen anyway.
It was actually his suggestion that made all this happen, because we thought, you know what?
Bruce's suggestion.
The officer's suggestion. Because, it was, I don't know how to fix a car, Mike, and, certainly this board really cares about the employees in this town, and we always want to make sure that we're putting people in the best equipment we can possibly put them in, and we want to know they're safe. And if there's a question and comments being made about it being town liability, we want to make sure we're protecting the town. But I will say that once we found out that these issues were wrong with the car, we really had no choice but to ground the car, because as a select board, knowing these issues, and there is statute about that also. As a select board, knowing these issues had reared their head, if we didn't pull the car off the road and fix them, we severely would have been liable if anybody ever got into an accident.
Can you tell me what the issues were again, because I only jotted down a few.
Brakes, no, it had no emergency brake, and the front tires weren't good. And it
Well,
says...
we were told also that there was...
We were told that there were issues with the springs, but we had the repair person call the person who had independently looked at the car, and they had a conversation about it, and I guess the Crown Vics have a tendency to have their noses down, and believe me, this is way past my pay grade, but they agreed through their conversation, because the springs had only been replaced a year ago, so they agreed that it really didn't need to be done right now.
An issue. So mainly it was the front tires and the
brakes.
Brake or the actual brakes?
Brakes?
The brakes, the
And the emergency
back brakes?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I believe that's what he said. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have it in my file here. I think it was the back brakes.
It just said brakes and emergency brakes, I believe it said. And I don't have a...
And the tires. And the tires
And the
needed to be
tires,
replaced.
yeah.
So we asked the chief to order Pursuit tires, which are the best tire that a police department can put on their car. But it does say in here, if the municipality knows or should reasonably have been expected to know about a dangerous condition but did not repair it or warn others about it, injured parties would be able to show that the municipality violated its duty of care. Thus, they could expect compensation for injuries or damage. So clearly, once we knew there were problems with the car, we were responsible to make sure that those problems were fixed before that car got back on the road.
Without getting into, I come into this not hearing anything before tonight about it. I didn't even know the cruiser was off the road. So I don't know that you can get into a blow-by-blow thing, but, I mean, is this a case where you said to the chief, hey, get this cruiser off the road, and she said no?
No,
Or is it not that?
no. Actually, Chris was the one who brought the cruiser. She brought it right to the repair person in town, and we called the chief and told the chief that the car was off the road until it was fixed.
Okay.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but ultimately, the equipment in town, vehicles, those are the taxpayers' vehicles. I mean, the departments don't own these vehicles.
That's right.
The voters and taxpayers of Vernon own the equipment.
Thank you for saying that.
And as elected representatives of the voters and taxpayers of Vernon, we have fiduciary responsibility to prudently take care of the town's equipment.
That's right.
I wasn't behind the wheel 3 minutes before I said, there's something wrong with these brakes.
So it's something that should have been noticed, definitely.
The total amount of time, I mean, we're talking just a couple of days that it was off the road, or just...
It was off the road from Monday to Friday.
Was it a significant expense for the town to get fixed or not?
No, it was...
No, it was Thursday to
I'm sorry,
to
it was.
Friday. I'm sorry. About a week.
Yeah, it was off the road about a week. The tires, obviously, we bought the tires through the municipal bid, so we got them at a good price. And it was, I haven't seen the invoice, but it was about $400, $450, something like that, to get it fixed. And like I said, I haven't seen the invoice, so it might not have even been that much. But it certainly made sense. Those are, like I said, normal wear and tear repairs that need to be made on anybody's vehicle, anytime. So it made sense to make those simple repairs and to save the town having to buy a car if we can put it off for another year.
Okay, so I guess a stupid question to wrap that up is, maybe I don't understand, what's the controversy then? I mean, why was there a controversy? I mean, I know that there's been the controversy about replacing the car, obviously I've written about it, but in terms of this, what is...
I don't understand. I don't know.
It should be just an issue about a car.
It should be, and the safety and welfare of police officers,
I mean, I guess if there was no argument with the police chief about it, from what you're telling me, it's not like she refused to take it off the road, right?
Well, she didn't have a choice. We took it off the road.
We took it off the road.
Okay.
And she probably would have backed this up.
Yeah, I think she would have done the same.
She cares about her officers as much as we do.
I just didn't know if there was something I was missing here.
I'm in the same
I don't
boat.
think so.
If you do, let us know.
Anyway, so 29,000?
$29,000 for the roof, yes.
And that's a roof on what up there. I missed what he said.
It's pretty much, so they have, at the rec department, they have a pool house, a shelter, they have a garage, they have a little shed, and then they have a chemical shed, and it was all of them.
Yeah, it was all the roofs at the rec center, really.
Because I just saw like it said pool roof or something.
How many years has it been since it's been replaced? 30 years or?
Collectively.
It's been a long time.
No, I said Vernon Recreation Area.
They're
No, you said
different
pool.
ages.
Oh, did I?
Somewhere between
Oh, because I was reading Vernon Recreation Area.
Yeah, it's 40 years old,
That's what
right?
she meant, collectively, the pool area.
And I think you said the finance committee did approve.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. They had, we had a roofing company had taken a look at it
Is approved the
3
right
years
word?
ago, and they told us 2 to 5
Approved
years.
is the right word.
So we're right there. I mean, we're right where we expected to be.
And they started with some leaks.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Anything else?
That, I don't want to keep you any longer. If on this other thing, I'm going to probably write, this up the next couple of days. So if I have any other questions, can I give you a buzz?
Absolutely, you've got my number.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
You have my cell too, right?
I've probably bothered you on a couple
Yeah, I think you
times
do.
already.
I'm not going to repeat it at an open meeting, but I think you do have it.
She's shutting it off. So you're open for a motion to adjourn?
I am.
Then so moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this evening. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all very much for joining our meeting this evening. We really appreciate the company.